All right, so I've seen a lot of videos online about different bug-out bags or 72-hour bags or go bags or whatever you want to call them. And a lot of the more popular videos on YouTube seem to really prioritize super tactical gear and MOLLE straps all over your bag and basically an excuse to buy like tactical stuff, because you feel like you might have some use for it. In actuality, let's talk about what a bug out bag, 72-hour bag, go bag, whatever you want to call it. Let's talk about what this is and what it isn't. This bag for me is something I keep in my car and have everything I need for 72 hours in the event of inclement weather, someone being in the hospital and need to go there immediately without going home, any other kind of thing where I would need to either leave immediately or be stuck somewhere because of, who knows why. Whether you get stuck in the snow, or the highways are closed, or for whatever reason you have car trouble. There's a million reasons that, you might come across where it makes sense to have stuff with you that you might need when you don't think you need it. Me personally, what was a big wake-up call for me to keep things like this in my car was driving back from Los Angeles to Chicago. And I driving like an idiot, just have my suitcase full of stuff in my car, my iPhone, really nothing beyond that. I think I had like half a Monster or something. Was pretty confident that I could get up over the Rocky Mountains, without any issue in my car. And of course that's when the snow started, right when you reach the treacherous point. So I ended up spending almost an entire day just at a rest stop by myself. And if you until you only have to do that once without having proper gear and supplies before you realize things like, wow, it would be really nice to have an extra sweater in the car, or wow, I would kill for granola bar right now, or it would be neat to have a little extra water, or things like that. And it doesn't necessarily need to be that specific example, as much as it could be anything at all that would require you leaving quickly or being stuck somewhere. So to expand on what this bag is and what it isn't, the way that I kind of put this together is things that I would need for 72 hours if I really only left with what was in my pockets, or was stuck somewhere with just what was in my pockets. And it basically include things like 3 days worth of clothes, the tools to be rescued, and the tools to at least hang out until I can either figure out how to get rescued or make my way to wherever I would need to go to get help, basically. So the challenges with this particular bug out bag in our climate in Chicago is that the temperature variances we experience here are pretty severe, especially when you keep something like this in your car. So your car's out in the sun in the summer right now, which probably inside my car is a good 100 degrees in the sun, right? And then if I keep this bag in my car through the winter, you're potentially dealing with well under -5 or so degrees. So it needs to have things in it that can deal with that level of temperature fluctuation, as well as look at most realistic needs for something like this. Living in the Chicago suburbs, probably really bad storms, both rain and snow. So kind of built everything in mind to keep it dry, and stuff like that. And you'll kind of see as I dig into this more. But also kind of prioritized everything being super discreet here. If you notice, this is just a JanSport backpack, which is the kind of backpack you would see just any old person carrying full of books or whatever else. So which is important for me because I drive a Prius, which I have a thing that covers the hatch, but most of the time I just leave that open because I'm lazy or whatever. So I didn't want anything in my car that is that would scream hey, high value item here. If you this doesn't look like a laptop bag, this doesn't look like the bag I take to the gun range that has all the patches and military loops and all that stuff on the side. Just very nondescript backpack. So the idea there hopefully is like, if I'm parking somewhere that I probably shouldn't have without having my hatch covered and someone looks in the back, they're like, oh, just boring transport backpack, probably full of books or whatever, don't care. So that's kind of the idea here. So I guess let's dig into what we got in the old the Bugout bag here. So kind of prioritize stuff based on things that I can get to quickly in event of what feels like the most common stuff that I might need to deal with. So digging right in the top here, got a, and you'll notice a common theme here is everything is wrapped in some form of plastic or a Ziploc bag or something like that, because again, like, if my house gets blown away in a tornado and I need to grab this bag and go, or, whatever else, like, rain is going to be an issue. So first thing I have is a 20,000 milliamp hour phone charger battery thing, which realistically should charge my iPhone to full like maybe 5 or 6 times, which should more than make it through 72 hours in any kind of issue. And I have cables too, but I'll get to that later. I just have that on the top. So the most accessible thing beyond that is this first aid kit that I have. This is from Adventure Medical Kits, and this is actually the Bighorn kit. They have a number of kits that are all like themed off different hunting animals. Like, I think there's like the whitetail and different kind of deer and things like that. So what's cool about this particular first aid kit over a lot of other ones is that the way that's broken out is in like very logical kind of order here. So on the top you have kind of common like wounds, medication, burns kind of stuff, and on the bottom you have your trauma stuff. So like, I kind of like how, because a lot of the first aid kits that you see is just kind of just a bunch of junk thrown into a bag and you kind of dig for it. So what I like about this is like very, very clear division. Like, here's not a big deal, huge deal. So you can kind of go between there. And because I go to the range a lot, this actually has a quick clot patch in it for like hopefully no one ever gets shot. But if you do, like, I'm vaguely prepared. And another thing that's cool about this particular kit is that it comes with this huge book of just like random ways to deal with different stuff like altitude sickness, or I don't know what's another one, just a whole ton of different wound stuff, how to deal with different like broken bones and stuff like that. So like, the theory here is like, we're somewhere crazy, like someone gets hurt, like I should be able to cobble together enough stuff to at least like make the situation not quite as terrible until like real help arrives, which is sort of the theme of this entire bag. So put this back in here and get on with the show. But yeah, this was one of the more expensive things in this bag. I think this was like $50 on Amazon. I got it on Prime Day, so it might have been a little bit cheaper, but really the rest of this stuff is just stuff that you have like laying around the house, or maybe you need to go to Walmart or for a quick trip or whatever. So once we have medical stuff out of the way, it seems like the next most realistic thing I might need to deal with is rain. So I got 2 emergency ponchos, because you never know if one rips, or if you're with someone that also needs one, you need to take a walk or whatever to get cell service or whatever else. So 2 emergency ponchos seems good. And at the same time, because we have real harsh winters in Chicago, I have 2 of these emergency space blankets. Which, if you've never used one of these, they actually work okay. I mean, it's not like, it says on here, it's, all this stuff about how it's made of similar insulation material used by NASA and it reflects 90% of your body heat. But like, in actuality, all these things do is make you go from unbelievably cold and miserable to just kind of cold and miserable. Which, again, for something this size and for what costs like, I don't know, $2 or $3 a piece, not a bad deal. Next I got 2 bandanas. And these kind of go in line with like the first aid kit. Stuff like this is useful for like coming up with like a splint kind of solution, or any kind of like wound tying or things like that. Which, I mean, again, it kind of follows the theme of like these are so cheap and so useful in so many different ways that it just kind of makes sense to have them, in a bag that you can just forget about in your car. And then we get a little bit deeper into random stuff that might be useful. So bug spray and suntan lotion, depending on where you are. You know, you might need to take a walk through the woods or down a highway or something like that, and you don't want to get sunburnt. So quality of life stuff. If I'm stuck somewhere because, you know, family members in the hospital or whatever need to go home or can't go home, I've, you know, just a basic kind of like stuff that I would need to clean myself up. So, you know, shampoo, conditioner, soap, you know, a small thing of deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste. You know, just in case I need to take a shower or something like that out and about. Similarly, I got a little medical kit of like common pills for, you know, like headache, stomachache, diarrhea, allergies, things like that. So, you know, these things are like $1 at Target, and they've got 6 little dividers inside. So I just kind of, you know, found the 6 kind of most common things that I end up taking and threw it in here. So, you know, headache, stomachache, things like that. And then to go with the shower stuff, I have not 1 but 2 towels. And this is kind of where you guys are probably going to raise your eyebrows a little bit, because these are in fact vacuum packed. A couple of reasons for that. So again, as we mentioned at the start of the video, the whole idea is, you know, keeping all this watertight as possible, because, like, you know, if my house blows away or something like that, I need to get somewhere with this in horrible rain or whatever else, or, you know, who knows, like, water is a problem universally. So vacuum pack these to keep them dry, so I'm not using a million Ziplocs. And in doing that, like, these were camping towels anyway, and they were pretty small, but when I vacuum packed them, like, the amount of volume that they lost is just unbelievable. And as I start pulling more stuff out of this bag, you guys will see just how much stuff I was able to fit in here because of this kind of like vacuum packing sort of stuff. So thought process here, this is the smallest size camping towel I could find, and this is the biggest size camping towel I can find. Stacked together, they're really not that big in the actual bag. I think, you know, like the small one, if it's hot, I could, you know, get it wet, wrap around my head, things like that. Or anything you would use a small hand towel for. This is kind of like a little bit larger than a hand towel, so like if I need to wash my hands or something, it makes more sense to bust this out than like the huge one. This thing is like, you know, it's not very big from the looks of it because I have it, you know, vacuum packed and stuff, but this is like the size of a large beach towel when it all opens up, and it's kind of a microfiber sort of super absorbent thing that's got, you know, silver impregnated junk in it to keep it from smelling and things like that. So, you know, if I need to take a shower with my shower kit, I got a towel with me, which, you know, is the most mundane use of this. Otherwise, it's big enough that I could realistically kind of use it as kind of like a blanket insulation sort of thing with the emergency blanket. So, you know, again, it doesn't take up too much room, not too heavy. I picked this up at Mountain Warehouse at the outlet malls. The small one was like $5 and the big one was like $8. So again, not spending a ton of money on this to have an unbelievable amount of utility over the long haul. So I've got more stuff in here, but things I have on the top, just because there was room here, is a AM/FM radio that works on batteries. And the thought there is, like, you know, who knows what could happen, but, you know, if something big enough's happening and you don't know, it's probably on the radio. You know, and if you can't get cell service or whatever, you can almost always get some form of radio to figure out what's going on. If, you know, who knows? Seemed like a good idea. These radios, I mean, this is an old Sony radio. You can pick them up at the thrift store for like a couple dollars. I think this one was like $10. Just because I got it new, but, you know, it's just because I didn't feel like searching for this kind of exact compact radio with a aerial antenna that can, because a lot of the smaller ones will not have an actual like antenna, but I figured it would make sense to have one with an antenna that you can actually, you know, extend and kind of hold up and, you know, get something if you're kind of in a, you know, super rural area or whatever else on the top of a mountain, my original example. So let's see, this here is 550 feet of the original spool size of tarred bank line. And this is, I think, number 36, pretty thick. It's got a 550 pound test weight, and there is almost nothing on this planet that you can't do with tarred bank line. And the cool thing about this particular type of cordage is that it's impregnated with tar, hence the name tarred bank line. And so what that means is that it doesn't easily fray. Like it's a braided nylon cord that, because of its tar impregnation, it doesn't fray on the end, and it's also because of the tar, it's stiffer than you might find like just a normal nylon cord like this, and it grabs onto itself. So for like making knots and things like that, like this goes a long way. And really, this amount of cordage is totally overkill, but I figure I would just buy one spool, and like as I use it, for just junk around the house, or I just grab it out of the back of my car and use it and throw it back in there. It's not a big deal. Ideally in the future, this will be used and be down to a more manageable size. I use this for things like fishing or tying up random junk or whatever else. So that's a little overkill, admittedly, right now, but you can never have too much cord. I'll go back to the shower stuff. I also have just a travel size thing of wet ones in case you need to take a real quick shower, I guess. And then this is one of the only really tactical kind of survival-y things I have in here is just a fixed blade knife. And the reason for that is most of the knives that I carry are kind of like pocket knives and stuff like that. And you can just do a lot more with a heavier knife if you need to actually come up with firewood to create a fire for some crazy reason. You have a lot more momentum with something like this for hacking away at trees and stuff. If you've ever tried to cut kindling with a pocket knife in a camping situation or whatever, it's not a great time. All right, so digging deeper into this, I've got all my clothes and stuff for 72 hours of clothes changes, plus things that I might need to deal with Chicago weather. So that, and again, we're vacuum packing to save space. So this is a winter hat, which when vacuum packed is about the thickness of a potato chip, which is pretty cool. From there, I've got a full set of, this is the Costco brand 32 degrees merino wool long underwear, which got the hat for free. It's video game swag. This set was I don't know, $15 at Costco. I think I got it on sale last year. I bought a bunch of them, so just something else to throw in here. And the rest of this stuff is just clothes. So while I've got the stuff for winter, these pants that I got at the Columbia Outlet Mall store, also vacuum packed, keep them dry, keep them real tight. They can be converted into shorts, so I have extremes for very cold and very hot. So covering all the Chicago weather flavors, plus basically anywhere else inside of the continental United States, more or less. So 3 t-shirts, also vacuum packed, because why not? And again, you can never get a t-shirt down this small to fit so much in this bag. And as I keep pulling stuff out of this, it's really sort of nuts just how much I can get in here. What else? Oh yeah, so this is a full hoodie, vacuum packed. One of my thicker ones to be ready for cold again. Now I'm thinking my car goes off the road in the snow. I'm totally prepared with stuff to stay warm. And then we've got multiple socks, 3 days worth of socks and underwear, also vacuum packed because we are going wild with the vacuum packer, so why not? 2 pairs of wool socks, thinking for 3 days this is probably all I need, because wool doesn't really need to be washed quite as often as cotton, and realistically it's probably fine for situations that this bag is built for. So that's the entirety of my clothes. And on the side here, I guess I should mention, so we're getting into kind of so we've got medical stuff, clothing stuff, random stuff that would fit in this main compartment where I had room. So I've got a liter bottle of water here, and that, the liter is important, and I'll tell you why momentarily. And also, just because of the way this backpack was designed to fit kind of like a canteen style water bottle, I also just picked up one of these Army surplus. They're just a couple bucks. Fits right inside this bottle. realistically, we're going pretty far into the deep end here of ever like needing to like, you know, cook or boil something in one of these. But, you know, again, they're so cheap. They take up, this takes up practically no extra room in this pack, and I think it's made of aluminum or stainless steel or something like that, so it's super light, so it's not really a weight concern. So the next part of the old pack here has, this is primarily food and things like that. So the thinking there is like, all right, I got my clothes and shower stuff for 3 days. Yeah, I want to have like some kind of sustenance for 3 days, like, and you see, like, this isn't like I'm gonna be, you know, eating like a king or whatever, but I'm not gonna be like hating myself because I haven't eaten in 2 days or whatever. So the whole idea here was stuff that has the longest reasonable shelf life, so I can just pack this up and kind of forget about it. And again, things that won't get messed up in really high heat and won't get weird and really cold. So best thing there is beef jerky. You just got a, you know, giant pack from Walmart. It's like $10. You know, which again, one of the few things that actually cost money in this. Got these two little Tupperware things on Prime Day, and they just hold crackers. So I've got saltines in here and Ritz crackers in here because this one's round. Wrote the expiration date of both of those on the package, so we're looking into December of this year, but realistically, I mean, probably eat a cracker way longer than that. And this container is a little bigger than a thing of saltines, so I kind of shoved some you know, plastic silverware in there because, you know, who knows why, but there's space, so you know, you don't want to eat with your hands, I guess. So the reason the 1 liter thing is important is because of the water purification tablets that I have, which again, you know, we're getting out there with things that I'll probably never use, but they're so cheap and so small that you might as well have them because, like, you know, if you're ever stuck somewhere and you're thirsty and there's questionable water, but you know, you're really going to regret not having $5 worth of these in your bag. So there's a bunch of different, there's 2 different kinds. I kind of have always used the iodine-based ones. Just, I don't know, that's what my, you know, my dad and I use them when I camping and things like that. So the way this works is you put this one in first, which kind of you know, purifies the water, and the tablets are based off 1 liter measurements, so this being a 1 liter bottle makes that really easy because I just kind of fill this up with whatever questionable water I can find. Puts, I think it's two of these in here. I shake it up, give it a half hour to chill out, and then you put 2 of these then in here to kind of like neutralize all the iodine stuff that's killing all the you know, nasty stuff. So without boiling or anything, and these 2 little vials in this container, which I already have filled up with clean water right now, I can effectively have you know, way more water than I would ever need in a, you know, 2-day situation if I'm, you know, some weird place or, you know, truck stop with weird water, or you know, pulling off a river or something. Who knows? Another thing that's cool about this particular bottle is that it is plastic and is rated to be able to expand a little bit. So in the event that, you know, I have this in my bag in the winter and this turns into one big ice cube, it's not going to split the bottle and, you know, mess everything up. So this is an Nalgene, I think this is the I don't know, Oasis canteen or something like that. I don't know. Just a regular kind of military-sized canteen bottle. There's a billion of them that you can, you know, there was just a couple bucks. If you, I didn't really need to get that specific size, but because this fit in here anyway, so nice, I was like, you know, whatever. Then to go with the crackers, I've got peanut butter, which lasts almost forever, and a thing of cashews, which also lasts almost forever, sealed. So, you know, again, the idea here is not necessarily to eat like a king, but looking at the calories in the container. So this is 800 calories total. This is about 2,500 total. This is like another 600-ish plus whatever the crackers are. So, like, again, we're not going to be living high on the hog, but have the basic stuff for nutritional requirements for 3 days, more or less. And then just shoved in there too, I have some paracord, which I don't know, people are wild about this paracord stuff because it's one really strong cord but you can also cut it up, and inside this is much smaller fibers. So the idea is if you need to rig together, like, I don't know, it's kind of like fishing line or fishing trap or whatever, you can do that with a much smaller fiber than you would otherwise using like the entirety of the paracord or some of the tarred bank line or whatever else. And this stuff is so cheap and useful for so many things that I don't know why not. It's not gonna take that much room either. Last but not least, for my food is just a tiny bottle of Jack Daniels, because again, sometimes you just need a drink. Let's see. So getting up here, I have so the rest of my bag is all electronic stuff, and kind of like going back to the beginning of this video. I put this all in the front to be the most kind of accessible stuff because it seems most reasonable in any kind of situation where I'm stuck. Is I'll need to charge my phone, I'll need a flashlight, I'll need first aid, I'll need cover from the rain or cover from the cold or something like that. So first thing in here, this is a really cool little device that I think everyone should have because they're so cheap now. So this is the Spare One emergency cell phone. The story behind this is it's a GSM phone that runs on 2 AA batteries, has no screen, and everything is controlled via voice once you turn it on. AT&T originally attempted to sell these for $100 and absolutely no one bought them. But a lot of stores stocked them because it was like, oh yeah, just throw this in your glove box or give it to your grandma when she needs an emergency or whatever, which sounds cool, but at $100 you can get like a real deal cell phone instead of like something that basically does nothing. So they didn't sell, and recently Target and some other retailers have put them on clearance for $3, which in turn has caused like all the Amazon resellers to buy them up and sell them on Amazon for anywhere between like $10 to $20 or whatever. So I paid $10 for this, which again, more than happy for. And the cool part about these is you can either just not pay for them at all. And if you ever need it, you can turn it on, hold down this red button, and it calls 911 as soon as it connects to whatever cellular network you can get on. Alternatively, you pay $25 a year, which gives you 120 minutes of talk time, as well as the phone's ability to report your location to the Spare One website, so you can actually like see your actual real deal GPS location. I haven't really thought too much about subscribing to that because I feel like the chain of events that needs to happen for me to not be able to use my iPhone is pretty remote anyway. And I feel like at that point, like I'm not going to be, calling and ordering a pizza or something like that. That's going to require like normal cell phone minutes, and instead I'm going to be calling 911 because, things are bad. So it doesn't hurt to have one of these. You don't necessarily need to get this Spare One thing. I just thought it was cool because you use AA batteries, and I've got a bunch of spare AA batteries in here. But you can throw any old GSM cell phone in there. Like anything that can connect to a cellular network can dial 911. So you don't need to pay for that. That's 25 zip ties because you can fix just about everything on this planet with a zip tie. And I have 2 more ingredients in here that you can really solve any problem with. So these zip ties are pretty cool. They are they kind of have this little tab here, so you can actually undo them. So 25 of them seems like maybe a little overkill. I don't know, but being able to undo them and redo them seems pretty useful. So. Whatever. From there, I've got all manner of chargers, some old iPhone AC to USB chargers to charge up my phone. I got 2 of them because you never know if someone else might need to charge. Also have 2 spare 12-volt car chargers, just in case. I also have one in my car or whatever, but you never know. Being able to charge your phone is pretty important. I have 2 lightning cables and 2 micro USB cables. Thought that I could charge my iPhone or help someone else that needs to charge their Android phone, or use one of those to charge up the battery that I have. Then I have a bunch of earbuds. I have the lightning ones that go with my iPhone, as well as just 2 normal old kind of analog traditional plug style earbuds, which can go with the radio and A radio like that, when you have the earbuds in and the volume pretty low, can last like all day long on one set of batteries, maybe more. Got 2 sets of earplugs because it might be important. Who knows? I have them laying around the house, take them never home. And then I have got this just USB light, which I had this just laying around. I think I got it for free somewhere. I don't remember. Idea there being I can plug it into that giant USB battery and have light, ambient light to read or do whatever else at night, basically forever, with 20,000 milliamp hours of battery power. And then I've got these tiny little scissors. I don't know if they were in a fishing kit or whatever, but it seemed useful to have a tiny little folding pair of scissors. You don't take up any room, so you never know what you might need to cut. Moving right along with the rest of my electronic stuff. So kind of intentionally packed this way is one of these headlamps that this one's pretty bright, hands-free flashlight basically, so dealing with blackouts or whatever somewhere at night. I have a second one too in case either a second person need one or the first one breaks. Have a thing of duct tape. And the only reason I have this in a Ziploc bag is just in case I need another Ziploc bag, but basically took just off a roll of duct tape and rolled it really tight so it's not wasting any space. There's also duct tape in the medical kit, but I figure, if you can't fix something with a zip tie and you can't fix something with duct tape, the next thing you can surely fix it with is WD-40. So I think the saying is if it moves and it shouldn't use duct tape, if it doesn't move and it shouldn't use WD-40, so I don't know. These are like 99 cents at AutoZone or whatever, so it doesn't hurt, I guess. Then we've got 2 tiny traditional flashlights. These have both low and high as well as a strobe thing, which, just illumination, important. Who knows, the strobe might be useful for like actual signaling or something like that. A ton of extra batteries to go with all those flashlights. Then I've got just a portable CB radio, which I don't know, these things are also cheap as dirt, and the idea here is that I'm often in like really rural environments, going to like auctions and other dumb things like that, and it seems like whenever I'm trying to use my phone places like that, it doesn't work because T-Mobile is the worst, and I can't wait to switch off of it. So I'm really never anywhere where I don't at least, I'm not near a road or whatever. So even though these portable CVs don't have the best range, like I'm gonna be close enough to hopefully like be able to raise a trucker or something like that, maybe, I don't know. So super glue for fixing stuff, or closing wounds or whatever else. Tube of super glue is so cheap and takes up no room. From there I have basic tools and stuff. So I've got a Leatherman, which has pliers and all sorts of junk like that. Dog is going crazy over a squirrel. So if you don't have Leatherman, just in general you should keep in the same spot. I have mine in my bag here. Then I've got a traditional pocket knife as well as something with just a bigger kind of fixed blade. Just kind of overkill here because I always, like, if I'm not wearing pajamas, like I'll have a knife on me. Anyway, I just always carry a pocket knife, so this is a Benchmade mini barrage. So between this I have 4 blades, which I will have 5 with the other knife, so that should be pretty good. And I've just got this stupid whistle thing, this is $1. So clearance aisle stuff, and I've got a kit I put together to create fire, which again, seems very rare that I'll ever be so stuck somewhere that I need to make a fire or whatever, but at the same time, like, this is how small this is, and between 2 things of matches, 2 lighters, and some Vaseline impregnated cotton balls, you're talking like maybe $4 maximum for the ability to start a fire in just about any kind of weather, which seems pretty good. And then last but not least, got a bunch of black plastic bags, so you never know, you might need plastic for stuff, toilet paper for similar reasons, a couple Sharpies and a couple pens for writing down stuff, and then this is getting close to the end of what I've got here. Also spare Ziploc bags, because you know, who knows why. In here, double Ziplocked, I've got 2 different notebooks as well as a printout of my entire address book on my phone. So the idea here is, like, you know, if I lose my phone or whatever else, like, at least I have all my phone numbers and addresses and things like that, because I bet you don't know any more phone numbers than maybe your parents' house or your grandparents' house, because I certainly don't, because I've been putting in my phone forever. And then last, and maybe one of the most important things in here, I have a USB stick in a Ziploc, just because why not? And this is loaded with things like my whole 1Password keychain, so all my passwords encrypted. I also exported that to KeyPass in case I need to use Windows, as well as have the standalone executables for just about everything that I need to do to use my job, kind of look up, you know, my online banking passwords and things like that. So anything that I need to do to connect to whatever, like, all I need is a computer and internet connection with this plugged in it, and we're good to go. So yeah, that's the entirety of the contents of my you know, my go bag, bug out bag, whatever you want to call it. Kind of hard to come up with situations that this wouldn't get me through that are vaguely reasonable. As it gets more towards winter, I'll probably figure out a way to sub in some more kind of like winter items, like an extra pair of gloves, or maybe some like cheap ice crampons that I have. Because I always keep an extra pair of boots in my car and things like that, and usually I just have those kind of shoved in there, so that's why I didn't have these in my actual bag. So other than that, I have random water in the car. I usually keep about 6 you know, just normal sized bottles just in a little cinched up bag and stuff, so for some extra water. But everything here fits in this one bag. It weighs about 23 pounds, which is, you know, not the lightest, but also like not overly heavy. Like, I could realistically walk with this on my back for quite a few miles, and, you know, really only need to take a couple breaks a couple different times. So yeah, so this is, you know, just been what I think is a pretty reasonable look at you know, what everyone should have in their car in case of emergency or whatever. I don't really have too much in here that is over the top or silly, aside from, you know, maybe a big knife and stuff like that, but everything else has genuine concrete uses in just about every situation that you might find yourself in. So yeah, hopefully never need to use anything in this bag, but, you know, if I ever do, I got it all ready to go. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.